Hey y'all, Beasley here. Welcome back to the channel. On my last episode, I mentioned that I would not be publishing another YouTube episode until the baseball season of 2026. So I am taking a break from taking a break. Inspired by your end of year recaps, I present to you my top 25 acquisitions of 2025. I've put a lot of thought into this episode. I've changed the items in my top 25 a few times. I actually gave up on even producing this episode. I don't have a large collection. There's not much monetary value. I figured there would be little interest in my collection or in this video. However, a recent episode from John Mangini reminded me that my collecting hobby and my YouTube hobby are not based on the number of views or the opinion of others. I enjoy my collection. I enjoy putting together and sharing these episodes. So this episode documents the collection through the year 2025. It documents the evolution of my collection. While I have collected sports cards off and on for about 40 years, this year, 2025, last year, I really got more into vintage memorabilia and ephemera, and you'll see that reflected in this episode. So again, not a big collector, not a big budget, so prepare to be unimpressed and underwhelmed as I present to you in no particular order my top 25 of 2025. This was one of the additions to the 1929 Tulsa Oilers baseball exhibit, which is where my vintage journey began. See the episode titled Meet the 1929 Tulsa Oilers. So Lindondero is a great place to begin this top 25 of 2025. Before 2025, my baseball card collection was limited to Tulsa Drillers team sets, a few Topps cards, and a couple of 1933 Gowdy that I got specifically for the 1929 collection. This is my first Z-Nut card. I was excited to learn about these lesser well-known sets. I learned a lot about these cards and sets from the YouTube Cardmunity. I appreciate y'all. The 1931 Z-Nut of Lindondero. I likely first learned of the 1936 National Chicle from Aaron of Value Vintage Cards. Reviewing the checklist online, the search began for a Tulsa Oiler baseball player. I ended up with the second baseman from the 1932 Oilers, Lemuel Floyd Pep Young. It came cheap because it is well loved. Pen for display on a wall. This card is featured in a YouTube short on this channel. While randomly scrolling through eBay listings for former Tulsa Drillers, this card caught my eye. One of my all-time favorite drillers and a beautiful card. This one is all about the eye appeal. This is Norman McCaskill. A fantastic photo. I love it. It was on my office wall for most of the baseball season. I'm particularly fond of this picture, and it became the centerpiece for my YouTube episode titled Down the Rabbit Hole. You should check it out. Ted Simmons caught for the Tulsa Oilers in 1969 and 70 before going on to play in 21 seasons of Major League Baseball. An 8-time All-Star member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, there were no Tulsa baseball cards issued in the late 60s and early 70s, so finding memorabilia for this Hall of Famer was difficult. I was excited to find this newspaper article. I'm gradually adding items for an upcoming episode about Warren Spahn and the 1968 Pacific Coast League champion Tulsa Drillers. Clay Kirby pitched in 19 games that season. And my first mini. I had no idea that there were Topps minis. So yeah, number 6 of 25 random baseball pieces from 2025, the 1975 Topps mini of Clay Kirby. Speaking of Warren Spahn, I love the 2004 Upper Deck Classics. I love the look of these cards and have a few in the collection. I added this Warren Spahn in 2025. And speaking of pitchers, this is the newest card on this list. 2025 Tulsa Driller pitcher Carson Hobbs. As a relief pitcher, Carson had an ERA of 0.00 in his first 14 innings with Tulsa. Once again, this one is about the eye appeal. I love this color. Talked before about how when the baseball card set comes out, those added later in the season often don't have a card in the set to get a Driller signature on a card. I often have to find a card from High A Great Lakes affiliate, and I think that Carson's time at AA is limited. He'll be in AAA or in Los Angeles in 2026 and will not have a card in the 2026 team set. And the only opportunity that I have to get a signature on his card is to buy one from his Great Lakes Loons days. Pitcher Carson Hobbs. Back to the 1929 curated collection, I needed something to display for Joe Munson. Joe played for the Chicago Cubs in 1926 before finding himself in Tulsa in 1927, playing on 3 Western League championship teams through 1929. The 1928 Western League batting champion, he batted .379 in his 3 years with Tulsa. He was also a sketch artist. This piece represents Joe well. Joe Munson. At number 10, another piece of art, 1940s comic strip of John Beasley. Despite sharing a name, I did not know about Beasley until doing research on the aforementioned Pep Young. Both Young and Beasley were members of the 1941 St. Louis Cardinals, and this cartoon is fun and a great oddball addition to the collection. I bought Paprocki comics of a few former Tulsa Oilers as well, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the Paprocki episode to be released in the summer of 2026. It's John Beasley. Another John Beasley piece. It's a 1943 press photo from when Beasley was in the Army. Handsome Johnny Beasley. Handsome runs in the family. It's Beasley. And back to regular baseball cards. I do have a team-issued Cody Bellinger Tulsa Drillers card, and I'm happy to add this Texas League prospect card from 2016. I'm always happy to talk about Bellinger's 114 games with Tulsa in the 2016 season. Cody Bellinger, Tulsa Driller. So this one will actually be a collection of cards because this is a good example of my hobby habits of 2025. But one of the things I want to change in 2026, Andy Pages, one of my favorite Tulsa Drillers from recent years. So many Pages cards available. I purchased a lot of Pages cards in 2025. Here are 16 different Andy Pages cards. I was looking, I actually did 223 different purchases in 2025. I think I doubled the amount of baseball cards in my collection. For 2026, I want a lot fewer, a lot less in volume of cards. I want to focus on my vintage collection, finishing the 1929 collection, and getting some specifics, very specific, rarer cards of the players that I like to collect. But 2025 was a good year for my Andy Pages collection. Another non-Topps edition and a new set for me that I just learned about in 2025. I'm still trying to figure out how to determine which year's particular cards were produced, as they are all listed as the W462 Series 1947 to 66 exhibits. From my understanding, this Eddie Waitkus card was made in 1947. Waitkus played with Tulsa in 1940 and 41 before leaving baseball to serve in the Pacific Theater during World War II. I produced a YouTube short about Eddie and this card. You should check it out. Eddie Waitkus. This 2023 Charlie Blackmon Topps Chrome card is another favorite strictly based on eye appeal. I love the Rocky City Connect jerseys. As mentioned in other episodes, Chuck is one of my all-time favorite players and one of my all-time favorite people. Along with Andy Pages, I did add several Blackmon cards to the collection in 2025. We are proud that Blackmon was a Tulsa driller. Again, find the YouTube short about Chuck on this channel. Tulsa was Rockies country from 2003 to 2014. This Tulowitzki promotional jersey was given to me by my daughter. Being a gift, the cost was nothing, but the value is immeasurable. And I do miss wearing purple at the ball field. Tulsa Drillers, Troy Tulowitzki purple jersey. Earlier, I alluded to the idea of buying certain items just to make YouTube content about certain Tulsa teams or players. So subscribe to this page if you want to know more about the 1991 Tulsa Drillers, because this is the featured piece of memorabilia for that episode, coming in the summer of 2026. 1991 Tulsa Drillers. I learned about Mother's Cookies baseball cards while researching an episode for the 1951 Tulsa Oilers. I love the look of these cards. After making a YouTube short about this card, I heard from the great nephew of Fletcher, who corrected the pronunciation of the last name, which is Robb. Fletcher Robb is also included in the episode titled 1951 Tulsa Oilers and the Oiler Frolics from July of 2025. Mother's Cookies, Fletcher Robb. I became a fan of Dal Maxwell in 2025. Dal appeared in 47 games for Tulsa, hitting .348 in 1962 before going on to a 34-year career in professional baseball. 17 years as a player, 7 years as a coach, and 10 years as the Cardinals' general manager. Not the ideal physical and athletic specimen, Dale made a memorable career with high baseball IQ. There will be a short featuring Dal Maxwell in the summer of 2026. Dal Maxwell. At number 20 on this random list of favorite acquisitions from 2025, a copy of the Oiler News from June of 1954. This one represents a few Oiler magazines that I picked up this year, another great piece of Tulsa baseball history. Great picture and quote From the legendary Joe Schultz. Schultz was briefly discussed in the episode titled Rogers Hornsby and the 1952 Tulsa Oilers. You should watch that episode after this one. Oiler News, 1954. I added 2 more cards to the 1963 Pepsi Cola Tulsa Oilers collection. This set isn't a priority, but I had the opportunity to pick up 2 of them at less than $10 each. This set has slowly come together, and I'm glad to have made some progress this year. Gordy Richardson pitched in 4 seasons with Tulsa, earning a 43-29 record. This card is featured in the episode titled Pepper Martin and the 1963 Tulsa Oilers. Each year, the Dodgers give away a promotional jersey during Pride Month. I now have 2 of these jerseys, which I wear a few times to home games in June. This is the 2023 version that I bought on eBay this year. My first 1952 Bowman shortstop Peanuts Lowry, 1938 Ponca City, Oklahoma Angels, 1940 Tulsa Oilers, 42-49 Chicago Cubs, and 50-54 St. Louis Cardinals. Raised in Culver City, California, Harry Lowry was an extra in the Our Gang Little Rascals series as a kid. Later in life, he appeared in Pride of the Yankees, the Jackie Robinson Story. Peanuts Lowry has a webpage on both Baseball Reference and on IMDb. The 1952 Bowman. Slammin' Sammy Sosa was a member of the 1989 Tulsa Drillers. His reputation in Tulsa came on day one. Known for his speed in the outfield and on the bases, Sosa hit an in-the-park home run on opening night at Old Drillers Stadium. Traded from the Rangers near the end of that season, Sammy spent 2 years on Chicago's South Side before spending 13 seasons with the Cubs. Loved the old Stadium Club, 1991 Stadium Club of Slammin' Sammy Sosa. And finally, this piece was featured in a few episodes in 2025. Whether wearing it or displaying it or both, this is from the Muskogee Nation Night. We do it once a year in Tulsa, which is a Muskogee town. This one signed by catcher Frank Rodriguez. This is a player worn, not game worn. I mean, he wore it during the game, but he sat on the bench the whole time. But yeah, Frank Rodriguez, 2025 Muskogee Nation Tulsa Drillers jersey. And that's it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching a quick recap. A lot of bulk modern cards in 2025, plus some really cool vintage. My first Z-Nut, National Chicle Mother's Cookies. I got my first 50, 51, and 52 Bowman in 2025, plus some really fun ephemera. I did mention a few episodes on this channel, so go back and check those out. And I also previewed some upcoming episodes, so subscribe to the channel so that you can check those out as well. I am already looking forward to my top 26 of 2026, which should include a lot more vintage memorabilia. So I hope that your year is off to a good start, and I hope to see you again in April. Hey y'all, Beasley here. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome Miss Joni to the channel. What are you doing, dog? Trying to record an episode here. You're so cute.